of our hopes for the future. And I know she's up there, fondly keeping an eye on us, and she'll be a very proud mother.
Tonight, the royal sphere feels a sudden tremor. Prince William and Princess Catherine reveal a startling new name for their long-rumored fourth child. A wave of confusion palace assistants. A hush descends upon those closest to the pair as astonished fans burst into joy. Could this emotional decision stem from a secret family vow, a personal conflict, or an unexpected tribute? Now, one question reverberates throughout the United Kingdom, and everything that comes after could be altered by the truth behind this moniker. A name that might change the crown's shape. The polished flooring and old stone of Windsor Castle were bathed in a soft glow as the first rays of daylight filtered through the castle's centuries-old windows. The quiet that often surrounded the castle started to shake at precisely 11 minutes 9, hushed and urgent. Whispers floated down the corridors, conveying a sense of change so tangible that even the personnel, who had been educated for their entire lives to keep their identities hidden, exchanged nervous looks. The walls themselves seemed to be listening to something strange that was stirring. Catherine, Princess of Wales, had been the subject of persistent international rumors for months. Theories had run amok in the newspapers. Every fleeting public appearance has become a whirlwind of assumptions due to social media. Breathless updates were provided by royal correspondents nearly every day. Nevertheless, the palace remained steadfast in the face of everything because of its distinctive quiet, which had shielded many kings. However, even that stronghold of secrecy was starting to crumble this morning. With his fingers tapping nervously against the mahogany desk that had previously belonged to Queen Elizabeth II, Prince William stood in his personal study. He felt the moment's weight bearing down on him. There was more to this announcement than just a name. It was about legacy, about keeping a 1,000-year-old institution's customs intact while preparing it for a world that was changing quickly. He was reminded of his mother Diana's poise in the face of public scrutiny by fleeting thoughts of her. He considered his father, King Charles III, and the demands made on each royal choice. Above all, he thought of Catherine and their kids, the small but resilient family they had created despite difficulties that few could comprehend. Everyone thought their family was complete after Prince Louis was born in 2018. The future King George. Charlotte, who was adored for her self-assurance and charm. Louis's emotive responses had unexpectedly made him a global favorite. The Wales home appeared to be in perfect balance, but even the best-laid plans are frequently overlooked in reality. William had been gently reminded of that by Catherine several times. Even those closest to them were taken aback by the pregnancy. Aware of how intense and occasionally oppressive the attention could get, Catherine decided to hold off on making the announcement public. She was forced to resign from her official obligations when her hyperemesis gravidarum flared up again. The media filled the void with conjecture, health issues, marital problems, and all but the truth. However, Catherine persevered. She had developed her own brand of resilience, one based on calm strength, loyalty, and love to her children, after learning from Diana's hardships and Queen Elizabeth II's perseverance. She gave birth to their daughter in a very private setting in the Lindo wing. No live updates, no dramatic countdowns, and no throngs of photographers. Just a brief statement verifying the mother's and the child's safety later on. Although the arrival of the new princess was known, her identity was kept secret behind closed doors. William and Catherine were getting ready to finally reveal it inside these old rooms. Their PR crew hovered close by, repeatedly refining each draft. This name would represent not only their daughter, but also the future direction and values of the monarchy, as well as its careful balancing act between upholding tradition and modernizing. Weeks had passed before the decision was made. Senior family members, William, Catherine, and King Charles, had discussed public opinion, meaning, and history. Certain names were too significant. Some were carrying too little. However, one name in particular stood out, a name that silently welcomed the future while paying tribute to the past. A name that was selected with love, intention, and a sense of duty that extended well beyond their immediate family. And how did William and Kate decide on a single name that might change the course of the monarchy? What hidden significance does it contain? Keep an eye out. The name that might usher forth a new period of royalty. You must comprehend the power of names in the House of Windsor in order to comprehend why this baby princess's name is so significant, why it sent shockwaves through Windsor Castle, and why it evoked feelings all over the world. A royal name is never picked at random. It is a statement, a direction marker, a subtle but clear indication of the monarchy's current position and future goals. Every name has a past. There are expectations associated with every name. Furthermore, no one can entirely foretell how each name will affect the future. Almost nobody predicted that Elizabeth Alexandra Mary would become the longest reigning monarch in British history when she was born in 1926. However, her names connected her to previous queens and anchored her identity in a centuries old bloodline, each of Charles, Philip, Arthur. George's name symbolized a nation's promise as it rebuilt after war and recalled royal predecessors. Politics, religion, alliances, and public opinion all had an impact on naming customs during the monarchy. Names like Mary, Elizabeth, James, and Charles were passed down through the family tree for many generations, tying each new heir to the lengthy history of the dynasty. However, everything changed in the modern period. With the naming of her sons, Diana abruptly changed royal custom. The family's strong Germanic naming conventions were gently broken by William Arthur Philip Louis, who leaned toward English ancestry employing despite their royal position. Harry expressed a wish for the lads to have some semblance of a typical childhood through his pleasant, approachable, and casual demeanor. That development was carried on by William and Catherine. George Alexander Louis combined peaceful modernity with formality in one breath. Charlotte Elizabeth Diana paid tribute to three influential legacies, in addition to honoring Lord Louis Mountbatten. Louis Arthur Charles reflected cherished British history. Every decision made headlines around the world. Experts, fans, bookmakers, and critics all scrutinized every decision incessantly. And every decision, whether deliberate or not, influenced the public's perception of the monarchy. The pressure was significantly higher this time. In addition to signifying her birth, the new Wales baby's name would determine how she would develop into her position within a monarchy that is about to enter one of its most uncertain eras. Traditionalists may rebel if things are too contemporary. Younger generations may turn away if it is too outdated. A strong preference for one familial line could give rise to accusations of prejudice. Ignoring someone else could lead to disrespectful allegations. Every option has to be carefully considered. William combed over centuries-old documents and family trees for hours in the royal archives. He spoke with constitutional scholars and historians about his possibilities. Catherine made the choice with a mother's heart, picturing schoolyards, playgrounds, and friendships. For a little girl learning to write this name for the first time, how would it feel? Could it be condensed into something cozy, familiar, and sweet? Would it be joyful rather than burdensome? Beyond Britain, the Commonwealth, a worldwide family of 56 countries, needed to embrace the name. It had to be elegant in many languages, courteous in many cultures, and deserving of a princess who might one day be a key figure in the destiny of the monarchy. There were suggestions from all sides, some softly and some firmly. Tradition was King Charles' inclination. A contemporary touch was what Queen Camilla preferred. Despite the brothers' isolation from one another, Harry is said to have sent a confidential recommendation. Princess Anne remained impartial as usual, merely making the dry-humored comment that someone would be unhappy with whatever name they decided on. Following in the footsteps of the late Queen Elizabeth II, who had perfected the delicate balance between legacy and humanity. Catherine and William examined every viewpoint. One thing became evident as they got ready to reveal the name to the world. Arriving at a pivotal moment in royal history was this infant, this little new life. Her name would do more than just pay tribute to her predecessors. It would give the monarchy what it sorely needs at this moment and help mold the future she was born into. The promise of a new generation encompasses continuity, hope, and a new beginning. But how will this one name subtly change the course of royal history, impact the destiny of the monarchy, and expose truths? The world is still in the dark. Hold on tight. The time when everything was subtly disclosed. The guessing had spread over the country every hour. Social media erupts with hypotheses. Families argue around dinner tables, and bookmakers set odds. However, there was something far more sincere going on behind all the commotion. A strong bond with the Wales family and a desire to comprehend the connection between their individual tale and the national narrative. People weren't only inquisitive. They had a historical and emotional stake in the name that the youngest daughter of the royal would shortly bear. The little calm moment that altered everything then arrived. It was neither a lavish gala nor a widely reported royal engagement. It occurred during one of William and Catherine's many annual charity visits to a children's center. Children with vibrant drawings filled the space. Everyone is excited to give the royal couple a piece of their world. The walls reverberated with laughter. The cameras clicked courteously. Everything felt cozy, commonplace, and somewhat calming. A young girl, no older than 6, then approached Catherine. Her sketch was clenched between her tiny hands while her heels gently beat the floor. She proudly raised it and described what she had made in a clear, lovely voice. It was sincere, straightforward, and innocent. Then she uttered something that stopped everyone in the room. Diana was the name she mentioned. Just one name, uttered with the purity that only a child is capable of. She was unaware of the implications for anyone in her immediate vicinity. Everyone else understood the emotional weight, the history, the love, and the loss, but she was unable to do so. Catherine responded instantly and without hesitation. Slowly, her fingers moved to her heart as if something inside of her had changed. She softly placed her fingers to her chest, suppressing an emotion that seemed too strong to express. Tears began to collect in her eyes more quickly than she could blink them away. The fleeting moment before her regal poise reappeared in that moment. The truth was captured by every camera. William was drawn in by instinct as soon as he saw. He reached for the small of her back. A silent message of camaraderie, steady and warm. A moment between two people who shared the same pain, memories, and love for a woman who had influenced their lives in various ways. The room was filled with their subtle yet evident connection. Even though it was only a heartbeat, it seemed as though everyone stopped to share their feelings. After giving the young child a grin, Catherine became soft, appreciative, and touched in a way she was unable to conceal. She expressed gratitude for the drawing. She spoke softly, yet with a hint of emotion. All of a sudden, the mystery around the baby's name stopped feeling like a puzzle. It seemed to be a truth coming to light. Because Diana's name still had deep significance, it continued to reverberate with lessons, pain, hope, legacy, and kindness. The monarchy had been softened, altered, and sculpted by its moniker, a name that united people each time it was said. The world kept a close eye on Catherine, wondering if this name and symbol would recur in the following generation. However, the discussion had developed into something even more profound within the Wales family. They desired a name that was both light-hearted and respectful to tradition. A name that was both strong and soft, timeless and modern, something that might belong to a future leader, a sympathetic voice, or a young lady who would grow up appreciating both her individuality and her royal role. One name started to stand out among the others as conversations went on behind the castle gates. a meaningful name. A name that unites the past and the future. A name that the public, the family, and the monarchy could all accept. Isabella Rose Diana. A name that is appropriate for a kid, powerful enough for a leader, and significant enough to pay tribute to the woman whose impact continues to be felt across generations. Warmth, resiliency, and continuity are promised by this name. A name that might lead the monarchy into a new age. One who is molded by both duty and passion. How, however, did this one decision made behind closed palace doors come to have the ability to permanently alter the monarchy? Continue to observe the heart's inscribed vow. As the new baby's delivery approached, William and Catherine had an unwritten agreement between them, silent, intensely private purpose that didn't require an explanation. It was not just a choice or a custom, whispered between two individuals who experienced both great sorrow and extraordinary love. The pledge was created in the quiet hours of the night. And so, as the echoes of this historic announcement travel far beyond the castle walls, one truth remains. This single name may shape not only the future of a little girl, but the destiny of an entire monarchy. The story unfolding inside Windsor Castle is only just beginning, a story of legacy, love, tradition, and the quiet power of a new generation rising. What comes next for Prince William, Princess Catherine, and their newly named daughter will undoubtedly redefine the crown's path forward and change the world's understanding of royalty. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey into the heart of the House of Windsor. If you want to stay updated on every twist, every revelation, and every moment that shapes royal history, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because in the world of royalty, the story is never truly over. It only evolves. We'll see you in the next chapter.